Down there.
You might have to adjust.
Good morning.
It. Hello.
Are we good? Are we turned off? No.
You're not seeing double.
Now we are.
You're not seeing double. You're not seeing triple. There's somebody else in the room. Hunt Thomas, wave to everybody.
His brother from another mother.
That's right. So we'll let some people pile in here. They're getting the notifications on their phones right now.
Thank God they're live.
Bill and Cindy just went live.
They're live. We'll have, let's see, Gary will join us from Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
Tracy will probably join us from Winchester, Virginia.
Yeah.
Karen will be in Southern Shores. Victoria will be in Hertford. Mike will be in Good Morning, Perrin.
Hey, Perrin.
Mike will be in Norfolk.
Okay.
Wendy will be in Chester.
You might have Rodney from South Carolina.
Rodney from Columbia, South Carolina, possibly. Somebody from Mike from Jamesville.
Well, you haven't mentioned any of my old girlfriend yet, so I'll say.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. We have to dig deep. Hey, Perrin, do you know this guy?
Yeah.
Lori will be in.
They were in diapers when they used to listen to me.
Oh, maybe so.
Yeah, their mom and dad probably remember.
Yeah.
Or grandparents.
Hunt Thomas.
Hunt Thomas.
He was on the radio. You
Talk
were on the
about
radio.
an Outer Banks
Yeah.
local.
Yeah.
You know,
1973.
wow.
I was 3.
Okay.
Cindy, when you got in radio, can you remember the first song you played?
Ooh, there you go, Cindy.
And
That's
it's
a good question.
forgotten oldie for you, Bill.
Would it be a good one?
Huh?
Would it be a good contender for Forgotten 45?
Possibly, yeah,
Okay.
because I can't remember whether it went anywhere or not, but
Okay.
it was the first song because it was a really cool title.
All right. Well, what was it?
David Essex, Rock On.
Rock On. Okay.
We were just talking about
We
the
were.
Michael Damian
Michael
version
Damian.
of that, who was on TV.
Yeah.
Good morning, Foy. Are you
Because
still?
I was going to rock on the radio.
There
You were
go.
going to rock on
I
the
was
radio.
17 years old.
All right.
Wow.
So I know Perrin can probably remember some of the stuff we're going to talk about. So some of this is going to be directed sort of at you. And you can correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah, help us out, Barry. You know, I'm getting old. And
So
the mind's not what
Yeah.
it used to
By the
be.
way, the microphone, it's over here. But
Okay.
no. You can still
Okay.
yes, you're on
Okay.
camera, but just you can talk a little bit.
all right.
Okay.
So Hunt Radio, television, Dare County educator,
Yeah.
sportscaster, Lost Colony
Have
alumni.
done it all. You
You've
know.
done it all.
Neighbor
Yeah.
of Andy Griffith.
Neighbor of Andy.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely.
He's got some cool stories about that too, by the way.
Absolutely. So
We'd
we're
be
going
here
to
all day.
I've listened to you out there, and I love the stories.
I mean,
Great.
I will say one thing.
Yeah.
Andy bought trail bikes for his 2 kids, Dixie and Sam.
Okay.
And Dixie wanted
No
nothing
part.
to do with it.
Mhm.
So Andy was like, "Oh, Hunt, you're up here all the time. Why don't you and Sam, because we were the same age,
Ride bikes.
ride bikes?
Okay.
The bike path on Roanoke Island,
Yeah.
Sam and I made.
Oh,
Yeah,
they followed your
that
path.
was our path.
That
into
is
town.
And now it's paved, and
now it's
that's
paved, yeah.
along Route 64 going north on Roanoke Island.
Here comes
Jules Cheston was the DJ I hung with,
Oh yeah,
according to
I
Perrin.
worked with Joel.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And we're talking WOBR.
GAI.
WG. Oh, GAI in Elizabeth City.
Yeah.
Let's step back.
I mean, there were only 2 AM stations
in the
in
whole area.
Elizabeth City
Yeah.
in the area.
Oh.
Right.
And then in 70, WOBR AM signed on down
Right.
here. And then the FM came along, which is now Pirate,
Yep.
in 1973.
Wow.
And Pirate has come a long way. From
Yeah.
easy listening music.
That's
The
what
easy
was.
listening alternative,
That's what-
95.3.
Wow. That is just
So
cool.
Gary, who's in Cleveland, said, "Good morning, peeps. 36 to 48 degrees in
All
Cleveland today." And he said, "Who's the young gentleman visiting us today? Does he have gifts for us?" No, he does not.
I brought donuts.
Perrin said she hung out with her at OBR.
Okay.
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 All right. Very
That was in
cool.
Moncheese, right?
Yeah.
It was.
Uh-huh. Still is, technically.
Sometimes Shelley pops in and talks about the Wanchese days in the Octagon building.
Oh,
In
yeah.
1978 is when she used to hang out with her.
Yeah, I worked the AM in 76.
Okay. All right.
And
Then they got the FM.
well, the
When did they get the
FM
FM?
came along in 73.
Okay, so it'd been there a while.
So it was doing beautiful music, and the AM simulcast with the FM during the day.
Okay.
And the interesting thing was, I had come down to be in the Lost Colony.
Right.
They had it was new. They were going to put sound system in.
Oh,
First
wow.
time with music on tape.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right.
And so consequently, I wanted to come down
And be a part
and
of
be
that.
the first
All right.
sound guy.
Okay.
And so during the summer, I worked part-time
hmm
at OBR AM.
Okay.
Sunshine 1530.
Sunshine 1530.
Yeah.
Who decided that that music is beautiful?
I don't know why they called it beautiful.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
you had to-
Monotony.
You know,
and,
unless you wanted to say the word classical, which you probably could have at the time.
Mhm.
Classical music.
well,
you could.
no, not really. I mean,
Easy
you were playing
listening.
Herb Alford.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
Tijuana
This is-
Brass with Rise.
Yeah.
I know that
Some
one.
standards, maybe Dean Martin.
Yes. Frank
um,
Sinatra.
Maybe
Okay.
some folk music, Chad,
Mhm.
like maybe, you know, whoever.
Right.
James
guys.
Taylor, maybe. No.
No,
No,
that was
no
all.
James
Yeah,
Taylor.
yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. So imagine this. I mean, if you think back at this, all the radio stations that you can hear, or just forget the online. Just,
Right.
You're getting in your car or you have a radio at home, and all you can pick up is either 1530,
GAI out of Elizabeth City.
WGAI. Could you get CNC?
CNC during the day.
Okay.
Back then, we had to turn back to
Lower the
250.
power.
Ni-
Uh-huh.
95.3 out of Wanchi.
Right.
This was before 99.1 even came.
Oh,
out
yeah.
here.
Yeah. 99.1 didn't come along until 84.
Okay. All right. And maybe the FM out of Moyoc.
Yeah,
K94.
K94.
Okay.
They were the big powerhouse.
All right. So, and
And the interesting thing is, the guy at the time who owned CNC
mhm.
had put in an application for
Oh, okay.
93.7.
All right.
And
Very cool.
they didn't grant it to him because he already had stupid laws. But anyway, had a station in that market.
Okay.
And of course, the FCC changed all that later. you know.
Yeah, they're very particular
Yeah.
at that time.
Right.
Before that, about you could only own one AM and one FM station.
Right. You couldn't own a conglomeration.
Yeah.
Karen said her dad listened to The Fog.
Oh, yeah.
So- oh,
Bob
wow.
in Norfolk.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And
you
then-
know, beautiful music.
And there was not really any television unless you had an antenna.
Right.
Cable
Only
had-
TV that you could get with an
was
antenna.
an antenna. So it was
was,
wavy.
Wavy 10 and
Wavy.
13.
Okay.
TAR, TKR,
And out
and
of Greenville?
13.
Anything out of Greenville?
No.
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 Too far.
Anything
Uh,
south? Could you pick
No, but you could pick up Columbia UNC TV real good.
public
Huh.
TV. Okay.
Yes.
So that was your world for media. The newspaper came out twice a week.
Right. I mean, cable didn't
Yeah.
come along until
Right.
mid-70s.
All right. We're going to continue with this and a couple of other things this morning,
Garrett.
as we usually do. But we're going to talk about Cindy and I are heading to Elizabeth City hunt
Yes.
this Saturday. Coast Guard Marathon. weekend.
Ah.
So we're going to be promoting
Gary,
that.
Gary said, Hunt, you're going to love Shelley. She's Williams back up. Have you ever heard IXY Radio, 1260 AM, where rock first started? Wixie. I've heard of
I
it.
don't know.
Ooh, what a night. Your station for the Killer Hits 102.5, the Shark Four Seasons, December 63. Oh, what a night. It's 8:10. Bill and City in the morning and Killer Hits all day.
It's going to be sunny and breezy today, high 64, winds gusting to 26 miles an hour, gradually clearing off to be a beautiful evening. A little breezy still, though, winds gusting, and we should drop down to 45. Mostly sunny tomorrow at 60.
All right, right now around the area, let's see what we got now. Oh, 50 Elizabeth City, 49 in Barco, and we've got 54 in Nags Head at 102.5 the Shark.
First time in 25 years, I'm so excited I'm going to Elizabeth City. I have not been there in
can't believe
25 years. My daughter was 3 the last time I was there.
And
She's
you
28 now.
and you had chosen the other route to come through Elizabeth City to get to the
We
other
went
exit.
95 to 158 and all the way through until we got here. And but that was, like I said, 25 years ago was the last time.
Okay.
And then I discovered, oh wait, 168, the little
Yeah,
toll
right,
road
yeah.
thing.
That works,
So I ended
yeah.
up going that way instead. But we're going to be at the waterfront in downtown Elizabeth City for the Coast Guard Marathon.
Yes, we are.
Takes over Elizabeth City this weekend. They've got something going on Friday night, and then they've got a big, huge family-friendly festival
Mhm.
on Saturday with the 5K and the blow-up houses and the face painting and all that kind of stuff.
And this is pure Elizabeth City, and we're live on Facebook as we speak. We got a special guest on our Facebook feed this morning, Hunt Thomas, who is Mr. Elizabeth City as well as Mr. Outer Banks, because he's just been all over northeastern North Carolina for so many years. Even had your own radio station in Elizabeth City for a number of years there.
Which is now part of your group.
It is absolutely.
You know how you go round and round in circles.
We just started talking about Elizabeth City, and I remember, the Coast Guard's such a big part of that city.
Oh, yeah.
It really is.
I mean, when I was there, that was probably the biggest business or organization. Then you had Elizabeth City State, but my gosh, how that's grown.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I had a lot of friends whose dads growing up that went to school with, their dads were like commander of the base.
Right, okay, yeah.
One of my first
big wigs or whatever,
right.
Yeah.
One of my first DJing jobs back when you would go to places was the officers club on the base.
All right.
And also the enlisted club. So yeah, I was all over the Coast Guard base.
All right. Well, it's going to be a big family afternoon Saturday. It's right in the middle of the weekend. And of course, the marathon itself isn't until Sunday. But they do have a race on Saturday. They have some bands playing, face painting, like Cindy said, all kinds of great stuff. I guarantee you some pretty dang good food too.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be there broadcasting live from 12:30 till 2:30. And it's just going to be a good time. So come out and see
Absolutely. And even if you can't make it out Saturday, you want to come out Sunday, you might not be running in the race, whether it's the half marathon or the full marathon, but it takes a lot to be able to run in a marathon or half marathon. And plus the fact that they're the Coast Guard, come by and support them and clap and cheer them on because, I mean, it's amazing. But we're going to be there. We'll have some cool little stuff that we're going to be giving away from time to time, registering people for, and just say hi.
All right. And if that voice sounded familiar, you just heard Hunt. And just I want to let you know, you can watch us on Facebook for the rest of the hour here this morning. And it's on our Facebook page. We do a live stream every morning. Hunt's going to talk about a number of things, and some of it is sort of reminiscing just a little bit. So that's what we'll be doing there while the music's playing. And of course, we got today a music on the way. It will be Bow Time in about 10 minutes, and more killer hits all the way too.
It's pulled my hair when I pulled the name. All right, so yeah, Gary said, Hunt, you're gonna love Shelly. Have you ever heard of WIXY Radio 1260 AM? It was where rock first started.
Where rock first started. Hunt, that one? I'm trying to think.
That one doesn't ring a bell.
It's in Cleveland.
Well, that's probably Did Alan Freed work there?
I know that name. Why do I know that name?
He kind of coined rock and roll.
Yeah.
But
I know
got
that
into
name.
a lot of payola issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back then, and it's just I
Payola.
think it just kind of happened. You know how some things are not technically wrong until somebody decides they're wrong? Payola was kind of that deal.
Right.
It just, it was. And it's
By
like,
the time I came along, that was over with. Basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So,
but
I don't remember.
You're talking about Alan Freed. You got to mention our buddy.
Wolfman Jack.
Yes.
Yep. Now,
Bill's experience. Here's a young, naive, young wannabe broadcaster, radio guy, and all cool and everything. But that night, standing in the parking lot of a business down here on the Outer Banks, you were shocked.
Got to meet one of the legends. If you're in radio, or even if you just like music of the 50s and 60s and 70s, rock and roll and top 40, you know who Wolfman Jack was. He did the Midnight Special TV show, even if you didn't.
He was even on American Graffiti. Hello.
I know, American Graffiti.
Huge movie, gave him a lot of exposure.
Interesting story about Midnight Special.
Yeah.
That is when I first met Wolfman Jack.
Really?
Now
explain the connection. It's because he lived in the area.
He lives. His wife was from Belvedere, over in Pacoima.
Yeah,
and they had a house.
Yeah,
and so periodically he would come to Belvedere.
Now, also, I've read in one or two places, usually it's a radio magazine or something, that he, before he got famous in Mexico and the pirate radio thing, or whatever thing, the X or whatever it is down there on the other side of the border, running full power at night when West is supposed to be. He actually worked in Hampton Roads early on. Yeah. At a couple of AM stations there before he took off for the West Coast.
His name was Bob Smith.
Bob Smith. So
really, I never knew that. I was just known as Wolfman Jack. And Good Morning Tracy.
But that night in 1986, maybe
85,
86, right in there, he was supposed to be with Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yes. And we were running his syndicated show in Elizabeth City on CNC. And I came down to do a remote and live broadcast because we ran his show on Saturday nights.
Yep.
It was a Saturday night.
That's
so
pretty
we were
cool.
going to be live from the beach with the Wolfman.
That's pretty cool.
Right. Well, things didn't work out exactly like everyone wished they had. Not as many people showed up for this wonderful concert as we had hoped.
Well, Jerry Lee Lewis didn't show up.
He didn't even show up.
Yeah.
He was sick.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no.
And our job, Hunt and I, one form or another, are supposed to go out there and tell the crowd that Jerry Lee's not
Sorry.
coming.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm not doing that. And so the whole thing was just a little bit of a bust that night. And
Wolf was not happy.
You're frozen
yeah,
on my
he
screen.
wasn't real happy about that, but
No.
There.
he came out and he was really nice to us. He had his son with him,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a stack of glossies, of headshots, and he signed. He found out we were radio guys, and he remembered
he
you.
knew me. I think I introduced you
Absolutely.
to him.
But I still have that autograph. I kept that all these years. He signed it, and then big old Wolfman. He was a big guy.
Oh yeah.
He got into their Chrysler K car. Just
My
a
mom had one of those.
Yeah, little Chrysler K car.
Boxy, square,
And-
straight up seats.
Uh-huh.
They're
Drove off
horrible.
into the night.
Yeah.
There goes Wolfman Jack. And I'm sitting there going, nobody's ever going to believe this.
Yeah.
And Hunt's like, well, welcome to radio.
That's right. Yeah.
That was,
But no, I mean, Wolf would come over a lot of times. He called me up
Yep.
in the afternoon, and he'd say, "Hey, I'm going over to see you." Okay, but I mean, I've still got the liners that he did for the radio.
Oh, very
station,
cool.
you got a lot of pictures.
and lots of pictures. As a matter of fact, one that he did for me, I was doing mornings,
Oh, wow.
and one of the liners for his show was, "Listen, my good friend Hunt Thomas, he do the wolf. He do the mornings like the Wolfman do."
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you know that if you're a broadcaster, you've got radio or TV stories, funny things have happened on the air,
Mm-hmm.
crazy things that have happened on the air,
Mm-hmm.
getting locked out of your own building while the music's playing.
My friend Chuck.
That
kind of crazy
is
stuff.
interesting
Yeah.
that you bring that up.
Oh
that
no.
happened?
Now it
somebody
never
you know?
happened to me.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
However, back in the 50s
Right.
of CNC, and of course the only two stations in Elizabeth City was
Right.
GAI and CNC.
Yeah.
And the studios for CNC were downtown
Okay.
on Colonial Avenue, Poindexter, somewhere down there.
Gotcha.
And the guy who did the afternoon shift, I won't say, I mean, and this is all hearsay, 'cause
Yeah.
I wasn't around,
Okay.
but apparently he liked to drink.
Oh no.
And so there was a bar right next to the radio station.
Oh, okay.
And kind of reminds you and me of somebody that we used to work with a long, long time ago.
It happens.
We won't mention the name.
Everybody knows somebody.
That's right.
You know.
But anyway, his radio name was Slap Happy Pappy.
Slap Happy Pappy.
And so the bartender always knew about 3:00, have his drink sitting on the bar.
Oh, that's funny.
And Slap Happy put on an album and
Go next door, drink.
walk across, to the bar.
Right. Oh,
And
forgot.
he got in there one day and he's sitting there enjoying his drink. Figured he had 30 minutes,
Yeah.
maybe 28.
Okay.
Album started skipping.
Oh no.
He chugged that drink and went right back on the air.
It can happen.
Yeah.
I had a friend, which I've told this story before. The first radio station I worked for was at the end of this long gravel road, and at the
Yeah.
very end of it,
Yep.
when you first turned down the road, there was a convenience store, gas station. Well, the guy that I worked with, he was doing afternoons, and he was a smoker. He ran out of cigarettes, so he
Right.
decided, all right, I'll put in a 10-minute song and run up to the store, grab my cigarettes, and come back. Well, he did do that. And then he went back to the store, to the payphone, because we didn't have cell phones back then, and called me because he forgot his key to the door and had locked
Oh.
himself out of the radio station. I only lived like 15 minutes away, so I'll be right there. So I flew over, and there was about 15 minutes worth of Dead air.
Dead air.
Mhm.
Now, I've heard this story, and I've heard it told several different ways. One of the guys that was on 60 Minutes, it could have been Dan Rather, started out on the radio.
Right.
Okay. And don't know if it was music or not, but when
Andy Rooney.
might have been.
Andy
That
Rooney.
sounds-
Here's the story. When you first start out in radio back in the day, they put you on like the most unlikely place for you,
Midnight till 6 a.m.
or Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, 6 to 10.
The God Squad.
Right.
That was kind of the jargon. Now we're going to give you a slot in the God Squad, which is preachers,
Pre-recorded church
church
programs.
music,
Yes.
things like that. Wonderful to listen to, and very inspirational, with a message. So if it was Andy Rooney, he knew he had the record. He was playing this thing, and it was a segment that it's going to be like 18 minutes long. Okay, it's a whole side of a 33 album, and he was just going to skip out, run down the block, get his donut, coffee, whatever it was, and come back. He comes back in the room, and the record had got stuck on this. Go to hell. Go to hell.
No way.
Go to hell. Go to hell. Yeah. That's
Uh-huh.
Huh.
that's the
That's
story.
I've
Yeah.
never heard that story, but
Yeah.
well, talking about Sunday mornings,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, I know that Rick is doing some remodeling of the building.
Rick is our owner of
Mhm.
East Carolina Media. Yeah.
And but that studio, that big studio where there was nothing, and I think you've got 1049.
Yeah.
That was the studio where gospel groups would come in
And
On
sing
Sunday
live,
morning.
right?
and
That's-
sing live.
mhm.
That is so cool.
Yep, James Boyd and the Starlight Quartet.
Yep.
Cecil Forbes and the
Yeah.
gospel program
Wow.
at 1:00 in the afternoon.
Guys, if
And,
you're watching, if you have any questions or know any old DJ names or something like that, Hunt probably knows where they are right now and what they're doing.
They're dead.
Or where they're planted,
Yeah.
affectionately.
Yeah.
So
They're
we're
planted.
chatting about that. But Hunt's got other stuff he's done. We talked about the Lost Colony. And we talked about the radio day.
Right. You guys let me come in and talk about the VIP fishing tournament.
Which,
The
yes,
Lions
which is the
Club.
Lions Club.
And we've got a big auction coming up in June. It'll be an online. We
Okay.
used to do it in person, but you know how that stopped. With
Yeah,
COVID.
well, I got you covered.
And so the online is going to kick off June 1st.
All right.
And
They're looking
we'll
for
go all
auction
month.
items.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
All right.
so we're various items will
Perry?
be on there.
Tell the folks at Southern Shores Pizza that they might want to donate to the Lions Club. Some type of item.
VIP. Yeah.
VIP.
The VIP, which is
gift-
visually
gift cards are
impaired.
always great.
That's what Hunt's talking about. He's been going around to local businesses that usually do things like that.
Yeah.
He's putting them down.
And if you have any
Right.
glasses that you like, your prescription has changed or whatever,
Yeah.
the Lions Club takes them.
That's
And
kinda
do you
cool.
still sell the brooms?
Yes, I
Yep.
know because I bought one from
The brooms are the bomb.
Right.
From
And
our-
we have big brooms, we have little brooms, and even whisk brooms.
All right, so Gary's got a question. We're going to get to it in a second. Gary will be right back at SPO time, and we'll pick up with this with Hunt Thomas. Anybody else got a question? Now's the time to
Frequency
in.
modulation and
do what?
frequency modulation is FM.
Okay.
And AM is
Oh, yeah, we can talk about
something. Well, that's
Yeah.
what he wants to talk about.
that. See what Hunt's going to remember it all. I'm going to go. I just played the music. I don't know what you're talking about.
Just like a friend.
Your station for the Killer Hits, 102.5, The Shark, Madonna, Like a Prayer. Good morning to you. 8:25, Bill and Cindy in the morning. Killer Hits all day. A little breezy today, but the sun is going to shine.
Yes, it'll get up to about 64 today, temp-wise. Wind gust, though, 26 miles an hour. Gradually clearing off tonight to become completely clear. Breezy and 45. Wind still gusting. Mostly sunny tomorrow and 60.
All right, 51 right now in Eatonton, 56 in Rodanthe. We got 54 in Nags Head at 102.5, The Shark.
And let's do today in music.
All right, started out 2008, Procol Harum singer Gary Brooker, who just passed away a year or two ago.
Yeah, I was going to say that one that long ago.
Won back the full royalty rights to the band's worldwide hit, Whiter Shade of Pale.
I remember
at
that one.
London's Court of Appeals. The decision was overturned in 2006 with a ruling that their organist, Matt Fisher, was entitled to 40% of the royalties. to the big hit because he had argued he had written the song's organ melody, which is a big part of the song.
Yes, it is.
But the court ruled that this was kind of an excessive delay, a little late in the game to be claiming this all these years later after it made so much money. But maybe for Matt, that was the reason he brought
Wasn't
it
it like
up.
40 years later or something?
40 years later.
That's ridiculous.
Also in 2008, Beyonce Knowles married who?
Jay-Z.
Yep, at his New York apartment. Didn't have to go anywhere. Coldplay frontman Chris Martin and wife Gwyneth Paltrow, and Beyonce's former bandmates in Destiny's Child, Kelly Rowland and Michelle Williams, all attended that big wedding private ceremony.
In 1992, the film soundtrack from Wayne's World started a 2-week run at #1 on the album chart. In 1987, Starship, not Jefferson Starship or Jefferson Airplane, but once they just went to Starship, they started a 2-week run at #1 on the singles chart with Nothing's Gonna Stop Us, taken from the film Mannequin.
Oh, that's right.
In 1981, Styx went #1 on the album chart with Paradise Theater.
What a great one that was.
Yes, it was. In 1970, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young went to #1 on the U.S. album chart with Deja Vu.
Oh, cool.
And in 64, the Fab Four held the top 5 places in the U.S. singles chart.
I don't think that had ever been done.
I don't think so either. #5 was Please Please Me.
Okay.
#4 was I Want to Hold Your Hand. #3 was Roll Over Beethoven. #2 was Love Me Do. And #1, Can't Buy Me Love.
Yeah, man. Beatlemania in full swing. For sure. What about birthdays today?
I only found one. Steve Gatlin from the Gatlin Brothers.
Oh.
He is 73 years young.
All right. That's today in music. That means one thing.
Peacock.
It's Bo time. Time to qualify for a 2-piece chicken dinner from
Bojangles. And your word you want to text us is please.
Mhm.
Please. Please. As in please, please.
All right. Very
Yeah,
cool.
the Beatles song. Text it to 252-441-1025.
News and weather together. Coming up within 10 minutes. More killer hits next.
I had put the word in, but I didn't write it down. So I had to go back and look.
Yeah, what was the
I was
word?
like, what did I put as the word?
That's what we
Yep.
get for having fun.
All right. So Gary wants to know, Hunt, do you know what AM and FM stand for? Being a radio guy in the FAA, I took care of all audio equipment for the FAA that the controllers and the pilots use for communication.
Good connection.
I love audio. I had to change antennas for radios. So cool.
AM, amplitude modulation.
And
FM?
FM is frequency modulation, isn't it?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Very good.
Because I had a bumper sticker when I started out in radio.
Right.
I thought it was the coolest bumper sticker. I had to put it on my car. Radio people do it with frequency.
Aha. Aha. I did do well on the
Bumper
birthdays,
stickers.
didn't I? Parents said I did really well on the birthdays this morning. I did. I
Yes, you
kicked
did.
butt. Ding, 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 ding. Yep.
Now,
Very good.
Now I got something. For
what you got?
you were talking about you and Cindy going to be in Elizabeth City at the Coast Guard base.
Yes.
Well,
Now-
we're going to be on Water Street.
Okay.
Downtown.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Waterfront front
Where
park.
the gazebo is.
Right. Yes.
There was no gazebo when we were there.
Right.
I mean, Waterfront Park was a place to
Mhm.
hang out.
That's pretty much
on
where we're going
Friday
to be.
or Saturday night.
Mm.
And which kind of leads into this story. Back in the day, we'll say the 70s.
Yeah.
The other station, other AM, had a Marty unit. You know what
Which
a
is a
Marty is.
broadcasting piece
It's
of
a
equipment.
portable piece of equipment that broadcasts an FM signal for
Back
a
to
very
the radio station.
Back to the
short
radio.
distance.
Right.
And you had to
Like 10
get
feet.
approved for that frequency.
Yes.
The FCC had to know you had that one too.
Right.
And it belonged to you. And you sounded like you were just in the studio.
Yep.
Yep.
Just stereo.
You carried the antenna,
Uh-huh.
Sure
signal
did.
back to the radio station.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Had to be a direct line of sight, though.
And
Right.
so anyway, GAI had a Marty unit. Now we didn't, and I just couldn't get the owner at the time to buy a Marty unit.
Right.
We had a
I thought
Marty
it'd be
and a
really
Mosley.
cool. But you got to remember, I was only 20,
Mhm.
Yeah.
21.
Yep.
So being the innovative guy that I am, I said, okay, there's a way. I was the only 21-year-old, we'll say 20-year-old broadcaster in Eastern Carolina who had a car phone
Oh, wow. Okay.
before cell phones.
Oh, wow.
And so
How
you
did
had
that
the
work?
the transmitter
Okay.
in the back of your car,
All right.
in the trunk, basically. And then the phone was actually a rotary dial
Yeah.
phone. And you pick it up and you could either dial the number or wait for the mobile operator to come on.
There was a mobile operator.
Yes.
That
Was
is
her name
funny.
Sarah?
I don't know. I don't remember. But
Wow. That's cool. I didn't know that
it
part.
cost it, and of course the radio station had no.
Yeah.
They thought this was the most foolish thing, but I could go anywhere.
Yep.
And get on the air.
Wow.
That is so cool.
And,
So it's like on the spot reporter.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
the deal.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
you only could be on the line for 3 minutes to 5 minutes.
Okay. All right.
So you couldn't
Yeah.
do a live full blown remote because
Right.
back in those
Yeah.
days you had phone lines that you paid for.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina Telephone Company,
Okay.
and
So cool.
so consequently they had to put in a phone line,
Right.
and then it was connected to the radio station automatically.
Hmm.
There was no dialing or anything
Right,
like that. And so that's how we did remote broadcast.
So it's kind of like an ISDN, a current
Sure.
Yeah.
now, modern ISD or
So you
yeah.
could
But-
do remote broadcast.
And back in the day, basically before DJs had the turntables and all that kind of stuff, radio stations had a remote board,
Okay.
2 turntables,
Right.
mixer,
Wow.
microphone, and on a stand. And you go into a business, you'd set that up
Oh wow.
and hook up the phone line
And do it that
and
way.
do you could do a 3-4 hour, however long.
Okay.
Oh wow.
That's
We
pretty
did a 24-hour marathon for the Heart Association, and South Cape Mall let us have the whole mall.
cool. Right.
And I had lined up entertainment.
Yeah.
And we're talking 78 maybe.
Okay.
And I'm sure you're familiar with the group Out in the Cold.
Yeah.
They're from Elizabeth City.
And they.
Yeah. And so I knew the lead singer, Clarence Munden.
Wow.
And I said, Clarence, can you get some guys together to sing during this marathon at South
Right,
Cape
right.
Mall? So basically, I discovered Out in the Cold, and they acknowledge the radio station on their first
On their
album
first album.
and their website.
That's pretty
That's
darn
pretty
cool.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that we kind of take for granted in radio is just the immediacy of it, and
Yeah.
how you can just you can give up to the minute information as it's happening
Mhm.
sometimes. And you're talking about that phone.
Yeah.
I'm sure there had to have been an instance where something happened and you just happened to have that phone,
Well,
and you could call and go, "Hey, put me on the
something
air."
would be going on
Yeah.
down at Waterfront Park.
Right.
And there's a picture of my car at Waterfront Park at some event,
Yeah.
and I'm on the phone.
Right.
Now, the interesting thing is that it could, back then, how many 20-year-olds had phones in their cars?
Nobody.
Just fun.
Nobody, yeah.
That's right.
And so,
Yeah, Elvis had a phone in his car, but he was Elvis.
well, that's true.
Parents
But,
Taryn said, I remember Harper on a phone doing a live remote in a van.
John Harper?
yes.
Okay.
Now, OBR, they had a Marty unit.
Okay.
Um,
Now
Back in
later
the
on,
day. But what I was going to say, it was
Yeah.
great for dates. Call up girl, hey, what you doing? Oh, nothing. Want to go out?
Sliding around?
Sure. Give me about 5-10 minutes. That's okay. I'm sitting in front of your house right now.
you
That's
sly
funny.
dog, you. That's
Yeah.
funny, man.
But yeah, way before cell phones.
That's crazy. It really is. Cindy, you got to have another radio story or something.
We had a
crazy
Marty.
things that happened on the
We
air.
had a Marty and we had a Mosley, which was the brand of the
Right.
Marty.
Okay.
And the Mosley was a 500-pound.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
hated using that thing. We also had when you were talking Marty's, it normally was like a direct line of
Yeah.
sight within like 5 miles or something. Was the
Mhm.
we had this was up in West by God, Virginia, because we had mountains. Our transmitter site was up on the top of the mountain, so we had the extra distance. We called it the Mountain Marty, and we could actually go 30 miles away
Okay.
as long as because it was up on the top of the mountain, so the signal would go.
Right.
And we could do a remote from 30 miles away, and it sounded just like we were in the studio.
Now,
Well,
is,
You had somebody ask about AM and FM.
yes.
That was
The
Gary.
signal for AM stations the reason why you could pick up stations in New York or Chicago,
WNBC.
it goes circular of the earth,
Yeah.
and the FM just straight out.
Right.
Yep, it bounces off the
Yeah.
atmosphere and on the ground. Yep.
You talk about the immediacy of radio. Sometimes you're caught in the middle of a situation you wish you weren't. Cindy was working at a radio station as part of a morning show in Washington, D.C. on 9/11.
Wow.
And one of her name was Mickey, was her name. She was driving on 395, which is the interstate that takes you right past the Pentagon. And she called us right then and there, and we put her on the air, and she told us all about it.
Well, that's kind of the same thing. And Bill, you probably remember, because I was working nights.
Yeah.
You were afternoons, or maybe you had gone into TV by then.
Maybe I had.
But anyway, when the barge or dredge hit the bridge, Bonner Bridge, and took out 300 feet.
We were just talking about that the other day because of the Key Bridge in Baltimore.
I happened to be home. I had just gotten home watching David Letterman when he came on at 12:30, and I hear they're talking about, hey, I think part of the bridge is gone.
Oh wow!
And so consequently, I get in the car, and I was feeding reports to the TV stations in Norfolk the next morning, plus also doing reports on the radio station.
I was, I had already moved out of the area when it happened. I got married in October of '90, and this happened less than a month later.
Yeah.
Gary wants to know if you remember John Lanigan from Cleveland. It was 99.5 FM Cleveland.
Nah, doesn't ring a bell.
Okay. I never. While I was here on the Outer Banks, I did a lot of interviews and really cool things through the Beach TV thing. That because I also worked at the radio station, they associated it all together. But I never got any big stories. I think you were on the air one night on Surf 106. That one of the biggest things that ever happened to me was calling you and saying, "Put me on the air," and you're like, "What's going on?" I said, "The ghost ship is on fire."
Yeah.
And the ghost ship was what exactly was that? You could walk through it. It was like a fun house.
I thought it was a putt-putt.
Oh, it was just there. You didn't go in it? Okay. Well, it was full blown in flames.
Wow.
Like, this is a huge story. It's the ghost ship. So Hunt puts me on the air, and I'm like, "Hunt, this is Bill. I'm down here in Nag Head, and the ghost ship is on fire." He's like, "Well, what do you see?" I was like, "Fire."
Flames,
That's
smoke.
all I had to say.
Radio is the imagination of.
Well, I couldn't pull the Hindenburg out of my hat.
You have to tell the
humanity of it all. The flames are just flying everywhere.
Like the Hindenburg.
Yeah, exactly. I guess I could have played it up. But,
and Gary sent a picture of what's going on right now at his house.
What you got going on, man?
I can't open it. I mean, it's not letting me because it's upside down. For some reason, it's done upside down. So I need to go in and turn it so we can all see it. Yeah. But it's not letting me. It's the gremlins or whatever.
What's happening?
Anyway, it's snowing.
It's snowing in Cleveland?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Wow.
Okay. That was a great guy to stop traffic. Ghost ship was a putt-putt course on the ship.
Okay, Perrin.
Yeah. Okay.
Perrin.
Or in the ship. There was a putt-putt course in the ship.
Perrin went on Jeopardy, and there was a category, Outer Banks for 500 Alex.
There you go.
Millionaire.
Yes.
Perrin?
She would be my lifeline, but she said she wouldn't.
She wouldn't do it?
No, she said she wouldn't.
All right, so Perrin, you've done a little bit of everything, job-wise, as far as over the years, places you've worked in.
The Outer Banks area.
You've seen, and I can always ask parents, like, okay, now, where was Mulligan's before they moved it? And just
it was on the beach road.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I wonder if Perrin remembers those T-shirt contests we used to do.
At Atlantis?
Madeline's.
Oh, Madeline's Excited and Spirited Speakeasy at the Holiday Inn.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have one of those stories, but I'm not even.
No comment, right? Yeah.
No, I had.
I kept it clean.
I had to host one.
Sure. Yeah.
I had to host one time.
Right.
And I'm going, what am I supposed to say? We can say this on Facebook Live. So at one point in time, I'm like, okay, what do I say? Get the crowd going here. So I said, check out them Hooters, guys.
Well,
How do you like those tatas?
Right.
well, I mean, one of the stations that is part of East Carolina
Oh, me either.
radio now used to do the best body on the beach contest.
That's true.
Perrin says yes, she remembers them, but she's never been in one. I have never been in one either. I was the one holding the microphone saying, okay, we have contestant number 2. Check out those
And
tatas.
Bill was right there, you
Yeah.
know, before his married days.
Yeah.
These
That's
surprise
right.
guests
Yeah.
are great. Keep it up.
Yeah.
A lot of history,
Who's going
bringing
to
back
host
memories.
the t-shirt contest this weekend? I will. You know, that was Bill.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
you know,
kidding, Sheila.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
If you
No, he's not.
if you work in radio, you got your day job, which is like what we're doing here.
Mhm.
But you also you did the nightclub circuit. You DJ'd weddings.
Yeah.
High school proms.
I never
and
did
stuff
that.
like that. You never did?
I never did that. I
Okay.
would do like if we partner. I mean, if they were one of our clients or whatever, and they were doing like we did a Hawaiian Tropic contest one time. We hosted best legs. We hosted
Right.
the t-shirt contest. You know, different things
Gotcha.
like that.
Gotcha.
And I had to go out and MC those sometimes or whatever. But
Well,
know.
you know, when, of course, working at the school, Manio High School for the last 15 years, I always go to prom.
Yes.
And consequently, I tell the DJs, you know, you guys have got it easy. I mean,
everything's on a computer
I know.
now.
All they do is bring their laptop
Uh-huh.
and all the music's in
It
them.
used to be
You know,
And the
we're not
speakers are
hearing-
about this big, but
Yeah.
they're this tall, but they blare louder than any of the
And,
others.
I mean, they could set up in 5 minutes.
yes.
It
Absolutely.
would take us a half a day.
Pretty
if we had
much.
to do it.
And you'd throw your back out looking at
Oh,
those big,
yeah.
heavy speakers.
So Perrin says that now she remembers Dan Banks did a lot of those.
She is correct.
He did the best body on the
Yes.
beach
Right.
on the deck of the Carolinian.
Yep.
That was which made it to MTV one time.
Uh-huh.
MTV
Yeah.
came down and did live
What was
shots.
her name?
Daisy
Fran-
Fuentes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Daisy Fuentes.
She came down. It was MTV on the beach or something like
Uh-huh.
that. And it was a great scene. Great publicity for Nag's Head.
Gary,
Well,
I
and-
refuse.
And Brian Murray got a great shot. It
Yep.
was a hang glider
That's right.
If you
Coming up-
remember.
Yep, that's right.
and flying up the beach.
That's
And
right.
Daisy didn't see it coming.
And just flew right over
flew
while
right
she was
over.
doing a break. It was pretty
Yeah.
cool. So back in those MTV days when it was still about the music.
Music,
and fun.
yeah.
Yeah, they actually played music.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I when I went to the school and they asked me to take over the video morning announcements.
Yes.
My first thought was video killed the radio star.
Video kills the radio
Yeah.
star.
That's
Yep.
all I had in my head.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, things change. You know, radio obviously is nothing like it used to be,
No.
but at the same time, it's just like it used to be.
Yeah.
In certain, and the music's different, the technology's different. It's just crazy.
Well, you know, and he'll remain nameless, but I worked for a guy when I first, after I'd been down here a few years, and he had a radio station actually in this building, and he told me,
We can talk about it. It's Ken Mann.
yeah, Kim Man,
Ken Mann, Carolina 92.
right,
I worked in this building for a short time with Ken as well.
Right.
I was his news director.
yes, you were,
And I think his morning sidekick for a while. He treated me like that.
right,
He made me talk with him
right,
on the air.
Can't turn it off.
But yeah, he did right here where we're.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the studio we're sitting in hadn't been built.
that was the garage,
It was a garage.
because Total Communications.
Yeah, they
was in
put
there.
radios and
Right.
ambulances. Parent, you got to remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but anyway, he told me, he said, and I was his ops guy, and he said, Hunt, one day we're going to be able to run the radio station out of a computer,
Isn't that crazy?
and
Just
that's
crazy.
the way it happened.
Parent said she also remembers Dan doing a fashion show at the mall. Doing fashion
Dan
shows
Banks?
at the mall. Yeah.
Probably did.
Probably.
Probably did.
Why
Yeah.
can't I'm still
Or
trying to
either at the
open?
Galleon.
Oh, the Galleon Esplanade.
We
Yes.
were just I just saw a picture of that.
Cindy never heard of that. She
Yeah.
saw-
Oh,
That was before
Yeah.
my
Yep.
That's when
George
I was
Crocker.
George
that's
Yeah,
when I was
Crocker.
little and I
He
didn't
was-
pay attention.
he was ahead of his time.
Absolutely.
And
Visionary.
of course, he also owned the Cabana East Motel
Okay.
across the street.
Didn't know that, but
And then he also had Restaurant by George.
Restaurant by George
Mhm.
and the rear view mirror,
Right.
the car
Car
museum.
Museum.
Mm-hmm. Which I wish I would have seen that because I'm a big car
Oh.
person.
When I first moved here and it had just opened, I bet I went there 10 times in one summer just to go see him again.
Yeah.
It was just wonderful. I can't think of another place you could go then to see a collection like that.
Yeah.
Anywhere. It was just really cool. A great attraction. It really was. Well, look, guys, it has been real cool. This is usually about the time that we wind things down and roll the credits. Hunt, thank you for joining
Always
us
a pleasure.
this morning. Come
Coming
back
to see you and
anytime.
Cindy.
It was very nice.
Yeah, I know, Gary. We went a few minutes late, and you didn't even have to ask us.
And Gary said, "Gotta go.
"Yep." He
See
said
ya,
what to
Hunt.
do.
Bye bye."
Bye.
All right,
That's what he
look.
said.
All right,
All right, guys, let me roll the credits
Good
so
roll
we can
credits.
finish this.
we'll do this again some other time.
Yep.
Maybe next spring break. Okay. Thank you, Hunt Thomas.
Or sometime,
Always.
sometime this summer. Ha ha.
Yeah. that might
Because school's out. All right, we will talk.